What's up guys? So today I wanted to do a little unboxing video of my new wheel spacers. I just got them in the mail. They are from SET. I'll link them down below just so you guys can find them. These specific wheel spacers are actually an adapter also. They are a 5x100 to a 5x114.3. 5x114.3 is a super common wheel. And I found a set of winter wheels that I want to run on my BRZ, so I had to get these adapters. They're a 15 millimeter, so I had to do some, checking on everything and see if they would work. But let's go ahead and unbox these, and I'll show you guys kind of the build quality that I'm finding. So far, that's what's in there. Pulling out one. So they're not in anything styrofoam, but they do have bubble wrap around them. So the packaging is all right, nothing crazy. But so these are just a 15 millimeter. You can get them in quite a few different variations. Some of them were like 25, some of them were like 30. I've even seen spacers up to like 2 inches. So these ones are some of the lower profile ones. I didn't want my winter tires sticking way out too far. And from all the research that I did, it seems like the offset is going to be like perfect. So the first reason I chose these ones are because they're one of the thinner ones. They're only 15 millimeters thick. So it's not pushing it out very far. They're also hub centric. Most wheels are hub centric, so you need to make sure that they have a bevel in there. And if they don't, it'll end up wobbling. Back in the day, I had a Saab that had a set of spacers that were actually about this thick, but there was no conversion or anything, so they just kind of sat there and held the tire out. So I actually had less thread holding on my wheel, which in hindsight wasn't super smart, but also this is kind of heavy, and so that much weight that's not exactly perfectly centered, there's gonna make your whole car shake. So I sold the car. I didn't know that this was even an option. So you don't have to get an adapter style. So basically how these work are the empty holes right here are the bolt pattern that's on your car. So your hub is actually gonna slide inside here. Your studs are gonna go inside these holes. And then you're gonna put this nut on here and it's gonna sit pretty flush. After that, then you're gonna mount your new wheel to that. And then your nuts are just gonna sit on that. So this is kind of like basically putting on 2 sets of wheels. So you gotta tighten down a total of 10 lug nuts. But when it's all said and done, it's super flush. You can't even tell it's there. I decided to go with a black finish just because I wanted it to be as discreet as possible. I know some people like as much chrome. I know almost every company makes a chrome and a black finish. So it is also sitting on the very, very back of your wheel. So most of the time you won't ever see this. You'd have to be looking pretty hard if you wanted to find this. But so it says right here, the bolt pattern that it adapts to. So it's a 5x100 to a 5x4.5, which is actually the same as a 5x114.3. 5x4.5 is a lot easier to say than that other one. I actually didn't even know that was the same. There's a lot of cars out there on the market that have the 5x4.5. So it's a super common bolt pattern, and that's why I decided to go with these. I mean, I found the set of wheels that I wanted for like 300 bucks. They're a set of Sparco wheels with winter tires. So I'm pretty stoked about them. And I think they're gonna look awesome. But that's why I went ahead and bought these. So let's go into build quality. It does look like everything is like machined. It doesn't look like just a cast iron piece or anything like that. It looks really, really well done. These studs are secured in there, so they're not gonna be adjusting on you at all. 2, number 3, and number 4. Also in here, looks like there's some other packages. Sounds like some lug nuts. Handy dandy knife again. So these lug nuts are kind of a low profile. I'm pretty sure they need a key. So these lug nuts are a pretty low profile one. You can see the cone sits in there and then it dips down just a tiny bit and then you have your key. The keys are kind of nice because they secure your wheels. I mean, you have to have that exact same key to be able to take these off. The shitty part is that you have to have this key. If you don't have this key, then you're not getting them off. It seems like some type of satin powder coat finish, and then this just slides right on top and you can torque them down. So these lug nuts seem pretty high quality. I also really like the key. I had a set of wheels for one of my pickups that came with a key, but the key was way too thick, so I couldn't get it on my wheel. Well, I could barely get it on, and at the end of it I was just only tightening it with the very end of it. So luckily nothing happened and I was able to get them tight enough, but this one is thin enough to where it's just a tiny bit thicker than the actual lug nut, so it should fit in almost any wheel. So the rest of the stuff is just for packing. This really seems like a high quality set of spacers. To be honest, I've always just bought the best valued wheel spacers. I've never had an issue with any sort of shaking other than the original, other than those ones that came with the car that I bought. Those ones I would not recommend. Those weren't hub centric, and they also didn't have the actual studs. They just held the wheel away from the original mounting points. So these really do seem like high quality products. One thing I forgot to mention is that these are beveled inside here so that your lug nut is gonna sink in perfectly. Well, I guess technically these ones, since they're beveled anyway, they're gonna suck in there nice and tight and really center it in there. They seem like a great set of spacers. I got these ones specifically because they came with the lug nut and the key. And lug nuts can actually be pretty expensive, so I just decided to get a set that already had the lug nuts. So I guess just one clarification that I thought was kind of interesting and took me a little while to learn is the way a bolt pattern is set up. So a bolt pattern is, so this set is a 5x100. My original set of wheels are a 5x100. So 5 being the 5 holes, and then the 100 is the spacing in between the two furthest points. That's 100 millimeters. There's not that many cars that have a 5x100 bolt pattern. BRZs, FRSs, Toyota 86s all have that. So you can see the new bolt pattern is a 5x4.5. So it's the two furthest ones away from each other. On a 6, it's gonna be all the way across. And on a 5, it's going to be the two furthest points. And then on a 4, it's just obviously going to be the two across from each other. So, and just to show you right here, the 5x100, that's it right there. 10 centimeters is exactly 100 millimeters. That's just kind of how to know them, super simple. So when I first started getting into all this, spacers and adapters and all that stuff seemed super complicated. One hurdle that I just recently overcame was the offset. I just did a lot of research. I was on the forums for a while. I was just figuring out like what negative offset is and all that, and just figuring that out is super intimidating. But if you just take your time and just ask the questions, I mean, you can type almost anything into Google and it'll tell you. So and just be open to learn, I guess. I mean, really before I opened these, I had no idea that a 5x4.5 was the same as a 5x114.3. I mean, you're always learning stuff, and you can never learn less, as my dad says. I just think it's kind of interesting learning about the wheel spacers and everything. Once you get into it, it really is pretty simple. It's not that complex. I mean, it's just how far is it setting it out and what is the bolt patterns. You can type almost any of those into Google and you can find a set. So if you guys want to pick up a set of these wheel spacers, I'll link it down below so you can pick it up. Also, if you guys like this video, go down below and hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will catch you guys in the next video.